Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. It's Tom DuPont, publisher of the DuPont Registry, Tampa Bay, coming to you from the World International headquarters of our magazine located down the street from the St. Pete Clearwater Airport in Clearwater, nearby in the Airport Business Center. As you know, we come to you at least once a week, maybe more often, maybe less, but we always come to you with important conversations we have with notable members of our community. Today, we're very fortunate to have Brooke Palmer with us. Welcome, Brooke.
Thank you, Tom, for having me.
And she runs a business called
BP,
Brooke Palmer, RSVP. You get used to it after a while, you can say it, and is connected with all of the events in Tampa and the greater Bay Area as what's going on. She has her Super Bowl jacket on, as do I.
That was not planned, by the way, audience. We did not plan that.
And you'll notice that we have an additional guest behind us, Bucko Bruce, the original Buccaneer pirate, winking at you from the last time the Bucs were in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And won.
Correct. Which I was there. Were you there, Tom?
I was not there for that one.
I was there. It was quite magical. And my best friend was playing on the team.
Really?
So it was very special.
Very special.
Yep.
I went to one Super Bowl in Tampa when it was in the big sombrero.
Oh, well, I was not living here when the sombrero was here, but I did go to the Super Bowl in 2001. Is that when they played with the Ravens?
I think so.
Yeah, I went to that. I think I had just gotten out of college and had recently moved to Tampa Bay, and we went to that Super Bowl.
I remember the Super Bowl with a big sombrero. It was the Giants, and the reason I remember that is because my brother-in-law was here, and he's a big Giants fan. And we sat 2 rows from the top of the big sombrero. And, excuse me, that's really high up in the air.
Yeah, I would bet.
And by the way, a long ways from the field. There was no overhanging deck. It was just a big bowl.
But that wasn't like a $12,000 ticket back then.
No. No, that was a last-minute grab 2 tickets from a guy who needed to sell them, and we had the right amount of money. And what is it, $20,000 a ticket or something right now?
I mean, I think it's ranging. I'm seeing between like $7,000-8,000 on up, and you know, it's more than the tickets were in Miami last year, from what I understand. I mean, I've seen suite tickets going for $45,000 a ticket, which to me is just bananas. But it's the demand. Obviously, you know, the stadium's only going to have 22,000 people, and 7,500 of them are healthcare workers. So clearly the ticket is a hard ticket to get. And it is the people that are going. My father and my husband are going, so they're super special. They did not pay that for the ticket. Let me just say that. But I will say it is a unique opportunity. I have been to 5 Super Bowls, so it's certainly something special. I just hope this Super Bowl is dynamic and as amazing as previous ones that I've been to.
Well, I hope so. And, you know, we want to talk about events and what's going on in the community that goes beyond Super Bowl, but let's stay with that focus for a minute. Everybody that I hear is lamenting, oh, we're so sorry we missed the deal. We didn't get all the people. It's not a big event because of COVID. Oh, this is not very good, da-da-da. I'm on the contrary side. Aren't we lucky that the Super Bowl is here in any form, in the middle of COVID, so that we get something?
Yeah, and, you know, Tom, that's a really good point. As somebody who lives in the event and hospitality space, anything is good, right?
Something is better than nothing.
I love seeing people in the restaurants. I love seeing the Riverwalk buzzing, and people are being respectful and are wearing their masks and are being socially distanced. And the NFL experience is doing a fantastic job of monitoring that. So you're right. I mean, would it be the Super Bowl that we would have expected if it was 2 years ago? I mean, let's be honest. We weren't even supposed to have this game, you know. So
That's right.
And if it was in LA, they couldn't be having this game.
No way.
So even if they did have a stadium, now there's rumors and talks that, you know, the LA Super Bowl next year is going to be the biggest and best ever. But, you know, personally, I think this is awesome that we're here. We're putting Tampa on an international stage. I get to be with you today and talk to the New York Times later. So, you know, that's pretty awesome. And for Tampa to have that kind of attention is priceless, like you said. And it is putting people back to work. I am seeing some of my vendor friends and clients do something for the first time in months.
Right.
And it's not about taking anything. It's good. Some of these are really good things. One of my clients is doing all of the technology village at the NFL experience, and this just came up for them. So it's some amazing opportunities no matter what way you look at it. And
is.
I think that Tampa is going to be seen in a really positive light because the city looks beautiful. And then when it's time to give us another Super Bowl in a couple years, maybe we'll get it again.
Maybe the NFL will be nice to us and figure that we
Do
toughed
over.
it out in this environment, and then we deserve another one earlier than we would be in the rotation. That would be great.
Hats off to I know Claire was on the show, and hats off to the Super Bowl committee because they have been faced with unprecedented challenges, and this was supposed to be like the most amazing thing that happened to Tampa. We have been killing it with sporting events, and the Sports Commission has just been working in overdrive. And they've just found ways to innovate and garner attention and come off smelling like a rose.
It's quite remarkable. The talent pool for putting on an event like this needs to be stronger than putting on the big event when there's no COVID.
Oh, 100%. I mean, for Rob and Claire and Jason and their executive team to like look at each other and be like, what now? They're figuring it out. And I have to really
hats off to them.
Yeah, and they're my friends. Maybe I'm biased, but at the same time, like they, along with the Downtown Partnership and the Super Bowl Committee and Visit Tampa Bay and all of the groups that are working together even I was at the airport, the ads for Visit St. Pete Clearwater are stunning. Jane saying "Go Bucs" on the tram. It's those little things. Ambassadors were all over the airport. Like, we look like such rock stars as a city. And having been to 5 Super Bowls, I have never seen such a Tampa Bay centric force. It's like a giant commercial.
You're absolutely right. And hats off to the mayor.
Yes.
The mask mandate for all events, the right thing to do, just that extra ounce of protection. That means we won't be a super spreader event, and that people will protect themselves and be cautious of it. I think that one of the most unusual parts about this Super Bowl in Tampa is that everybody that's involved and everybody that's into the sports is conscious that there's something going on with a pandemic, and they're making one extra step to try and slow down infection rates. And if they make just one step, if everybody makes one tiny step, we're going to be yards ahead of everybody else. It's going to be so effective, and it's such a compliment to our community. And I think we're going to show up in the stats as doing extraordinarily well. And I, like you, hope it doesn't rain.
Right. We need our Chamber of Commerce weather that we've been having. Not today, but most days.
Thank goodness we didn't have to play yesterday and that windstorm that went through here. So that being said about Super Bowl, let's talk about other events. What else is going on in Tampa? Is it just in the Bay Area? Is it just absolutely dead, or what are the kind of events that people are actually doing?
Well, my company, being that we're RSVP events and PR, so half of my company is doing restaurant PR, which we have been chugging along like a freight train through the pandemic. Let me say that. And you guys were super supportive with our takeout bingo and all of that. So that's been an awesome part. And I do see, let me say that, I think that has set precedent for events, that restaurants and hotels can show the general public that it's safe to be in that space dining. And if you're not safe, you don't feel safe, or you're not comfortable yet, that's okay too, which is why there's been so much takeout and carry out and Uber Eats and all of that. So it's really that, I think, has created, if you will, the doorway or the entree to, okay, how do we get back to having safe events? Is it COVID testing on site? Is it everybody, wearing masks, all of it? There's no set protocols in place. There's lots of recommendations, I'll be honest with you. There's some that came from the state, which I think were very helpful. But people are getting back to celebrating. There are weddings happening. Now, are they as large as maybe 1,000-person Indian wedding? I don't know that those are happening right now.
Probably not.
I will say I had 3 bride inquiries on one day, and I was like, who am I? Like, when does that last happen? Because people are eager, not necessarily to celebrate or gather, they just really honestly want to be married. And if it's with 50 people in a backyard outside, socially distanced, they're going to do it. It's less about the big pop in circumstance, and I think it's more about the meaningful aspects of an event, which for me as a detail person, I kind of love that, because they're spending money on like the food and the beverage, and they're thinking about their guest lists, and they're really curating everything that's happening. So that's what I'm seeing with events. I do also think that people are eager to get out a little bit. And with people being vaccinated, and also I think, people are feeling more comfortable after it's been 10 plus months. You're starting to see a little bit of an uptick. I can tell you that my restaurants have been busier than ever, and that makes me extremely happy.
It's excellent. That's such an important part of our economic community, to keep these restaurants and service people in business and keep it going. There's one other little trick that not many people know about, involving the tax laws in the United States. We went from 0 deductible for taking a businessman to a business lunch to 100% deductible taking a businessman.
M&E.
And so when you talk about meals and entertainment, you had to come out of your pocket, and now you can get a tax deduction for it. That's got to help the noontime stuff. The evening stuff, that's up to families and friends going out. You can do that. You can do an evening meal with a business target too. But if you're doing that and it gives people time to interact, I feel like I've been locked in a closet for too long.
Well, I've always said, this is, take my PR hat off, just take my personal hat. You always do better business over a meal. I think that's something my father taught me a long time ago. And so you just accomplish things. I've watched the amount of things. I've watched sponsorship deals go down, and I've hosted at Burns. I've literally taken somebody to lunch, and the next thing I know, I'm getting a placement in, the Wall Street Journal. Like it's really, those relationships that you can build over food and hospitality are really important. Tom Sestema, who's the writer for the Washington Post, wrote a story during the pandemic that a world without restaurants is like Kansas without Oz. And I really feel like that's really true in events, in restaurants. I mean, think about it. Museums thrive off restaurants. Restaurants thrive off museums. Like the domino effect of like what's happened in New York, for example, versus, granted, I realize Florida, it hasn't maybe been as horrible, but it's still pretty bad, let's be honest. It's just been, it's so important that we, like you said, believe in those hospitality people, put those people back to work, because they're kind of the cogs in the wheel, I think, that give you that joy. There's so much joy over food.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And wine.
Yes.
Now, I know that you're connected with some wine festivals every once in a while.
I am. There's a little one called Burns Wine Fest that I might have something to do with. Sure.
And is that going to come back soon?
So it's going to be coming back. It's going to be coming back this year in a different way. And we're going to be making some exciting announcements soon. So I'll be sure to share them with you first.
Keep your eye out for that one.
Yes. We'll have to maybe do an exclusive on that.
Maybe you'll see it in our Wednesday marketplace.
You might. And to be honest, we're going to our 25th year of Wine Fest next year.
Really?
So yeah, can you believe
years.
that?
No.
I've been doing it for 11, and I can only imagine how David Laxer feels. But
so you started when you were 12.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
that's
got
it.
that. Okay.
But we plan to do some really great things. I think what's going to be awesome about our 25th year is that we will be able to gather and we will be able to celebrate. And so what we have to do this year is be responsible and be able to do things that are celebrating Wine Fest and celebrating wine and hospitality, and do it in a way that people feel safe. So that's coming to be determined. But I will say that events will come back slowly. You're not going to see these ginormous events even in the fall, but they are going to come back. And if we as business people and hospitality people believe that, get the vaccine, do what's right, wear your mask, it's going to change. I'm not Dr. Fauci. I don't need to be. It's just a matter of believe the science.
Believe the science, pay attention to what you're doing. I think everybody's got a heightened level of consciousness about how to do the right thing.
I got to tell you, my staff's not sick. This mask thing isn't such a bad thing for hospitality workers.
Well, and how about the effect on the common flu? Nobody's got the flu.
No, I know. They showed that map. It's like all green. It's just non-existent.
Well, that's a blessing. There are certain blessings thanks to COVID-19, but
right?
No flu may be one of the more important ones. So, Brooke, how long you lived in Tampa?
So I moved to Tampa in 1999. I graduated from Vanderbilt, and my friends at Vanderbilt went to Shorecrest and were from St. Pete, and I had visited here a couple times while I was in college and just fell in love with it and thought, well, maybe I should apply to grad school here. So I went to grad school at USF and stayed and just have loved everything about it. I was planning to go to UF to go to veterinary school, but my track took a little bit of a different turn. So I am a science nerd, so maybe that's why I understand the COVID part. But I've been so happy with my decision and to stay, and really have thrived on this community and what Tampa has changed. In the 20 years. I've always lived in St. Petersburg, which is also what I think a lot of people are surprised about me, is that I've loved living in St. Pete. I like going to Target and, not running into everybody. But St. Pete is just awesome. And it's been awesome since I moved here.
It's an awesome town, that's for sure. It's, everybody says, well, it's an awesome city. Well, no, it's really a big town.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
a little
like
more familiar and a little bit more comfortable. The spaces are a lot wider open than big cities.
Yes.
Where there's big, tall buildings and they narrow the streets down. You can imagine what New York City's like right now, where the streets are even narrower due to the snow piled up. So, Brooke, where'd you come from? If you got
So
here
I
in
grew
99?
up in Washington, D.C. So having said that, having
So
grown
you're
up.
probably happy not to be there.
Right. I was just in Virginia actually with my parents because they live outside of the city. And it is different. The feeling's different. My parents are actually, my dad is so excited to come to Florida on Thursday. He is vaccinated, so yay, go dad. But I do think growing up in a city like Washington was amazing because my weekends were spending going to the Smithsonian and feeling very cultured. And that's where I feel like Tampa Bay is moving into. Like we're starting to get really great cultural arts museums and a destination that's just remarkable. The fact that there are like 10 museums in downtown St. Pete within walking distance of each other is phenomenal to me. I just got off the phone with the Chihuly collection director. Like I am so excited that the arts have become exciting.
They really have. And our editor, David Warner, David,
Yes.
he is a proponent and a booster for the arts. He's always on top of it wherever he goes. And it's interesting because I live in Little Bel Air. We're a little remote.
Yep.
We're a little out of the way. And so it's a big deal to go to St. Pete.
Yes.
So we like going to the museums, going to a restaurant,
Right.
going to a couple of shops and hanging out. And now you've got that whole Central Avenue, East-West Central District, and it's just so much fun.
It's remarkable.
And the weather's nice.
Yes, and I serve on the board for Tampa Bay Business, Culture, and the Arts, and I have been a really, I'd say, active proponent of just encouraging youth in arts, really seeing what's happening with the Warehouse Arts District. I'm hoping that Tampa is starting to catch that fire with FMOPA and the Museum of Art and like really starting to get a little more of the art scene that St. Petersburg has. But it's truly, again, going back to my comment, like the museums and the restaurants and the shops all thrive off each other. And that's probably been the most exciting thing for me after living here for 20 years. It's starting to feel like it did when I was growing up in Washington. Sure. You'd go to the Smithsonian and you'd walk out and all the streets were busy, or like you're in New York at the Met, and it's just crazy when you leave a museum like that and you walk to the Whitney from the Met and you go to MoMA. Like that's a really awesome thing to do and a really unique opportunity for people that I've been fortunate to do so many times. I was thinking about this yesterday. I went to New York City last year for business, or not 2020, I should say 2019. I was up there for business 11 times. I didn't go to New York City. I went once in 2020 before the pandemic. And, I was like, wow, that's just crazy. I'm used to being in LaGuardia every 3 weeks. I haven't seen my driver, but, maybe that's a good thing. You slow down a little bit.
Sure. And St. Pete and Tampa's now going to be all over the map because of the Super Bowl. You're going to see some of these attractions and activities along with a river walk that now extends all the way from the Heights and the Armature all the way downtown, all the way around to Water Street. You got to remember the last, what have we been at it for 3 or 4 years now with Water Street being nothing but construction and concrete. Boom, it's a city.
Yeah, it's a cool city, and I mean Sparkman's thriving, the restaurants are thriving.
And
the JW is stunning.
Oh, it's unbelievable! It's just absolutely breathtaking when you walk in that lobby.
It's just like, wow, we did it.
Yeah.
There's a 5-star hotel in our city, which we always deserved. I mean, this is a 5-star city. Like, let's be honest.
You're
and
absolutely right.
I think that every person I know that's came here, I have friends. Fortunately, after going to Vanderbilt, I have friends from all over the world, and whenever they come to visit, they're like, Tampa is awesome. And I mean, we're not just known for maybe improprietous things anymore. We're known for now. I also think we're an up and coming food city. We have amazing chefs here.
Amazing. The food here is unbelievable.
We have amazing people who are doing cool events, and it's becoming more of a destination. So concerts are coming here. Things are coming.
Let's not forget one other spot, Midtown.
Yes.
I mean, We've all lived here a long time.
It's going to be awesome.
And we drove up and down Dale Mabry and sat in traffic for as long as we can remember and wondered what would ever become of all this neighborhood of these, 1 and 2 story offices, buildings, retail stores. And now there's another city, Midtown. And what they have on the plans to fill there and the events and the hotel space and the restaurants, it's a whole nother destination. I would suspect that as we come out of this pandemic, if you wanted to be in a business that you want to make a little bit of money, a reasonable amount of money, have a good time, have your own hours, you're going to be an Uber driver.
Yeah.
Because people are going to want to Uber to Midtown, they're going to want to Uber to downtown, they're going to Uber to St. Pete and go back to where they came from. And why would you want to drive if you wanted to have a couple glasses of wine?
You're not. I don't think the rideshare thing's going away. I think that people who are doing Shipt, my Shipt delivery woman said she did 16 deliveries. Like, she's killing it. I'm like, wow, you're
absolutely.
And so it's the work from home thing's not going away.
No.
It was funny. There was a meme I posted on my Instagram today that said, it's ironic in 2021 that the Buccaneers are in the Super Bowl because they're the ultimate work from home. So here we are, back to the Super Bowl. But, I just think it's exciting for this city. And, if I was Brian Glazer in the ownership right now, I'd be like, we did something all right. And look, the city, no matter who was in the Super Bowl, we were going to shine. But the fact that the Bucs are in it, we've won the Stanley Cup, which sucks that they had to win it in Canada, and that we're in the World Series and the Rowdies won their conference championship. This is Tampa Bay. We are becoming this title town, and it's not Boston and Chicago that you're talking about anymore.
No, it's not. It's Tampa Bay. And let's not forget the collegiate sports.
Yeah.
The USF and the various teams. Claire's old volleyball team
yes.
always does well.
Obviously.
And football, basketball, every bit of athletic entertainment you'd ever want is right here. And you might even be able to attend Wrestlemania.
I know. Well, and to be honest, I had said to my dad just the other day, think about what the year I would have had if it was the Super Bowl and WrestleMania, the opportunities as event people and what I was going to get to do, and having someone like Titus, who is the, Tampa Bay community champion and a personal friend of mine being like, wow, I get to be on this train. But that said, WrestleMania will be awesome. Thad will make sure that Tampa looks amazing. We will all support that.
Yep.
And, it's good for WWE to recognize that we should get it back. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome for the Sports Commission. And as an event person, I don't think it's about I got to do 25 parties. I think it's about people are getting back to work. And for me, as a company who's had to, I hate the word pivot, but innovate, if you will, and focus on my PR clients or do other types of events. I was doing food truck events in my driveway and became this thing. That's cool because you know what? Those are going to stick.
They are going to stick. And it's been amazing to watch everybody adapt to the new circumstances, to the new normal, and be able to take their old plan and pivot, but also think up new ways to be able to figure things out. Well, we're out of time here, so we have to have the important question.
Goodness.
What's the point spread? How many are the Bucs going to win by? Because we know we're not picking the Bucs or the Chiefs. We know the Bucs are going to win.
Right. And
Are they
it's
gonna kill
funny.
'em?
I was on booking.com this morning because there was a story about best restaurants in every NFL city. So I was actually reading the point spread. I don't do any of that. I don't gamble. My husband actually made a $100 bet in Vegas that we'd win the Super Bowl. So I really hope the Bucs win the Super Bowl.
Oh, boy.
So I'm going to say Bucs by 9.
Bucs by 9. There you have it from an expert on Tampa Bay.
I don't know about that. I will say that watching Tom Brady play has been really fun as a Buccaneer. I've watched him as a Patriot, but watching him as a Buccaneer and seeing the team thrive, it's just been awesome.
Knock on wood, couple of things that have occurred for the Bucs. We've been healthy relatively, and the team didn't know each other in August. And they've grown together as a unit. They've come together. They know what the other guy's doing without even looking. So they become together as a team, and they operate now as a team. And even Brady said that the other day. He said, I play for a team.
Well, and I think for Brady, getting out of the Belichick realm, if you will, my best friend's nephew played with him on the Patriots for 8 years. So I have a little bit of insight on that. But I'll say that you're right. He was looking for a team. I mean, he just gifted the entire offensive line IWC watches. I want to be on the offensive line.
Yeah, maybe I should go
anyway, play. But Warren Sapp did something similar actually for the Super Bowl when they won. He gifted all of his all the guys these like diamond bracelets that were really cool. So there's definitely so much camaraderie on that team right now.
so.
It's great to see.
Well, knock on wood, I hope they do the well. You said 9, so I'll give you an over-under for maybe lunch one day.
Okay.
And I'll take over.
All right.
All right.
Perfect. That would love to see that. So.
All right. So if they're going to be over, I buy lunch. If they're under,
No problem.
you buy
My
lunch.
pleasure.
And it's deductible.
Can we bring Molly?
Okay. We can bring Molly as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us for this special TBT Talks, Tampa Bay Talks event with Brooke Palmer, a local celebrity as well as a pivot person in the middle of the hospitality, restaurant, entertainment, events business. You know we live in a healthy community. You've heard it from the expert. You know she's a Bucs fan, and if you didn't know how big a Bucs fan, you'd know by looking at her fingernails.
Yes. They have Super Bowl
Probably
logos.
can't see them on
I'm ready.
screen.
Yeah, but I'm ready. I can send a picture we can add to the podcast.
Send us a picture
but
and we'll flag
Tom
it in
is
at
the
end.
local celebrity. I'm not so much.
Well, we're both blessed to live here in this wonderful town with all of our wonderful community. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being with us again today. This is Tom DuPont, publisher of the DuPont Registry, Tampa Bay. Glad to be with you, and only one recommendation. Go out and make it a great day, Tampa Bay.